Kindness without limits slowly turns into self-destruction. Think about it for a second. You give your best to everyone. You're there when people need advice, comfort, or help. You listen when others talk. You support when they fall. And you forgive even when it hurts. But deep down, you know something isn't right. You feel tired, unappreciated, and quietly frustrated. You wonder why people don't value your effort the same way you value theirs. You've mistaken being kind for being available. You've confused patience with silence. You've called it love when it was really fear. Fear of losing people. Fear of being misunderstood. Fear of being seen as selfish. But the truth is, constantly giving without boundaries doesn't make you strong. It makes you invisible. This is the moment to change that. It's time to rebuild your strength without losing your heart. To learn how to care without carrying everyone's weight. To start living with confidence, not guilt. You deserve to be kind and powerful at the same time, and this message will show you exactly how to do that. Number 1, recognize when kindness becomes fear of rejection. Most people don't realize that being kind can slowly turn into a habit of avoiding rejection. It starts small. You want to be liked, you want to be accepted, and you want to keep peace with everyone around you. So, you say yes when you want to say no. You agree to things that don't sit right with you. You stay quiet when something feels wrong. You smile when you're uncomfortable. And before long, you've trained yourself to believe that kindness means never disappointing anyone. But deep down, it's not kindness driving you. It's fear. Fear of being rejected. Fear of being misunderstood. Fear of losing approval. That kind of fear controls more lives than people admit. It stops them from setting boundaries, from asking for what they deserve, and from walking away when they should. The truth is, you can't win in life if your goal is to never upset anyone. Every step toward your real potential will upset someone. Every bold decision will challenge someone's expectations of you. You can't grow and please people at the same time. And when you realize that, you start to understand the difference between genuine kindness and kindness rooted in fear. Real kindness comes from strength. It's calm. It's intentional. It has limits. It's not about avoiding conflict. It's about choosing what's right. But when kindness is driven by fear, it's not about love anymore. It's about survival. You're not being kind because you want to. You're being kind because you're scared of what will happen if you're not. That's not generosity. You have to look inside and ask yourself, why do I need everyone to like me? Why do I feel anxious when someone doesn't approve of me? Why does saying no make me feel guilty? Those questions are uncomfortable, but they lead you to the truth. Maybe it's because, at some point, you were taught that being good means never disappointing others. Maybe someone made you feel like your worth depended on being agreeable, polite, and easy to handle. And over time, you believed it. You built your personality around keeping the peace. You became the person who fixes everything, comforts everyone, and takes the blame to avoid tension. But that's not strength, it's fear disguised as kindness. Fear of rejection can make you live someone else's life. You'll keep doing what others expect instead of what feels right. You'll hold back ideas in meetings, not because you don't have something valuable to say, but because you're afraid someone might disagree. You'll stay in relationships where you give more than you get, hoping your patience will make someone change. You'll take on work that exhausts you, thinking your effort will finally earn the recognition you crave. You'll keep saying yes until you don't know who you are without other people's approval. The truth is, not everyone deserves your kindness. Some people see your giving nature and take it as a sign of weakness. They'll keep asking for more because they know you'll say yes. And if you don't change that pattern, life will teach you the hard way that endless kindness without boundaries only leads to exhaustion and disappointment. You have to learn to separate kindness from people-pleasing. Kindness is giving when it's right. People-pleasing is giving when it hurts you. Kindness respects both sides, you and the other person. People-pleasing only values one them. The moment you recognize that difference, your life starts to change. It's okay to say no. It's okay to walk away from people who drain you. It's okay to protect your energy, your time, and your heart. That's not cruelty, it's wisdom. You can be a good person and still refuse to be used. You can care deeply and still say, "That's enough." The world doesn't reward you for how much you tolerate. It rewards you for how much self-respect you carry. When you stop being kind out of fear, your kindness becomes real. You start helping people because you want to, not because you're scared of what they'll think if you don't. You start speaking up because you know your opinion matters. You start saying no because you understand that your peace is valuable. And the more you practice this, the stronger you become. Many people are losing in life not because they lack skill or effort, but because they're too afraid to be disliked. They water down their opinions, lower their standards, and stay silent to keep the peace. But peace bought with silence is not real peace, it's quiet frustration. And it slowly eats away at your confidence until you forget what it feels like to stand up for yourself. When you recognize that your kindness has turned into fear of rejection, that's when real growth begins. You start to see how often you've traded your authenticity for approval. You realize that every time you agreed when you didn't mean it, you taught yourself that your truth doesn't matter. You realize that every time you ignored your boundaries, you sent yourself the message that your needs are not important. And when that awareness hits, it changes you. You stop living small. You stop apologizing for existing. You start building a new kind of strength, the kind that doesn't need validation to feel good. Understand this: rejection is not the enemy. It's part of growth. Every successful person you admire has faced rejection, criticism, and misunderstanding. They just refuse to let it stop them. They learn that rejection doesn't mean you're not enough. It means you're being redirected towards something that matches your real worth. You have to build that same mindset. You can't let fear of rejection keep you from expressing yourself, from asking for better, from living fully. There's power in saying, "I'm done trying to please everyone." The moment you say that, you take your power back. You stop chasing approval and start creating self-respect. You begin to live in a way that honors your values instead of other people's comfort. You realize that some people won't like your confidence, and that's okay. Their opinion doesn't pay your bills, doesn't heal your heart, and doesn't define your future. Every day, remind yourself that your worth is not based on how many people like you. It's based on how true you are to yourself. If being kind is making you lose yourself, then it's not kindness anymore, it's fear in disguise. You deserve to live with confidence, not guilt. You deserve to be respected, not tolerated. You deserve to speak freely, not quietly. The next time you feel pressured to say yes, pause. Ask yourself, am I doing this because I truly want to, or because I'm afraid of what will happen if I say no? That one question can change your entire life. It will teach you to act with awareness, not fear. And it will help you rebuild a relationship with yourself based on honesty instead of fear of rejection. The truth is, most people respect those who respect themselves. The moment you start setting boundaries, the people who used to take advantage of your kindness will either step back or step out. Don't fear that. It's not loss, it's alignment. The wrong people will leave, but the right ones will stay. The right ones will understand that your boundaries are not walls. They're doors that open to genuine connection, not manipulation. Your job is not to please everyone. It's to live in a way that makes you proud of yourself. If your kindness is costing you your self-respect, your energy, and your dreams, it's time to make a change. Be kind, but be strong. Be giving, but be wise. Be humble, but never small. When you stop fearing rejection, you stop betraying yourself. And when you stop betraying yourself, you finally start winning. True kindness begins when it's no longer controlled by fear. It becomes an act of choice, not obligation. It's steady, confident, and free. You speak your truth without shaking. You show up without needing approval. You stand firm even when others don't understand. That's the kind of kindness that changes lives, including your own. And remember this, the world doesn't need you to be perfect. It needs you to be real. Stop being too kind just to be accepted. Start being true so you can finally be respected. Once you recognize that fear of rejection has been guiding your kindness, you'll realize that the only approval you've ever needed is your own. That's the moment you stop being too kind and start becoming unstoppable. Number 2, Reclaim your voice and stop hiding behind politeness. Politeness has its place, but when it starts to silence your truth, it becomes a cage. Too many people go through life holding back their real thoughts because they don't want to make anyone uncomfortable. They speak softly, nod often, and smile even when something doesn't feel right. They avoid disagreement because they're afraid of being labeled difficult or rude. But every time you bite your tongue to keep the peace, you trade a piece of your power for acceptance. You lose a little of your voice, and before long, you start to forget what your real voice even sounds like. There comes a moment in life when you have to decide that your truth matters more than other people's comfort. Not because you want to argue or prove a point, but because honesty is the foundation of confidence. When you say what you mean with respect and calm strength, you stop shrinking. You stop waiting for permission to exist. You start leading your life instead of following what everyone else expects. The problem is that most people confuse politeness with respect. They think being agreeable equals being kind. But true respect is not about silence, it's about honesty. You can disagree and still be kind. You can say no and still be respectful. You can stand your ground and still have compassion. Real politeness doesn't mean hiding your truth. It means delivering it with clarity and care. When you hide behind politeness, you create a quiet war inside yourself. You replay conversations, wishing you'd said what you really felt. You nod during meetings, even though you have better ideas. You agree with decisions you don't believe in because you don't want to create tension. You apologize when you did nothing wrong. And then when you're alone, you feel heavy because your voice was left unheard again. That's not peace. That's quiet frustration disguised as maturity. Reclaiming your voice begins when you stop overthinking how people will react. The truth is, you'll never control other people's opinions, but you can control your honesty. You can decide that your truth has value. When you start speaking up, it won't feel natural at first. You might tremble a bit. You might feel your heart race. But that's what growth feels like. Every time you use your voice, it gets stronger. Every time you speak your truth, you gain a deeper respect for yourself. Think about how many times you've stayed silent when you had something important to say. Maybe it was in your family, your workplace, or your friendships. Maybe you agreed with something that went against your values. Each time you choose silence, you teach others how to treat you. You show them that your opinions are optional, that your feelings can be ignored, that your ideas can wait, and soon, they start to believe that. They start to talk over you, dismiss you, or take credit for your thoughts. That's not their fault. It's the standard your silence created. Reclaiming your voice is not about speaking louder. It's about speaking truer. It's not about demanding attention. It's about deserving it through authenticity. When you begin to communicate with honesty and calm conviction, people start to listen differently. They feel your confidence. They sense that you mean what you say. And even if they disagree, they'll remember your strength. Politeness, when used wisely, builds bridges. But when it becomes your shield, it blocks growth. You can't grow while constantly filtering your thoughts to fit what others want to hear. You can't find direction if you never say what you truly believe. The world doesn't need more agreeable voices. It needs more real ones. People who speak with honesty inspire change because they remind others that truth still matters. You might have grown up believing that speaking up is selfish, that it's better to stay quiet than to cause conflict. But silence doesn't protect relationships. It weakens them. Because every time you hide your truth, you disconnect a little from the people around you. You start showing them a version of you that's edited, careful, and incomplete. And that version might keep things calm on the surface, but it will never feel fulfilling. There's nothing wrong with being polite. The problem begins when politeness turns into fear. Fear of being misunderstood, rejected, or judged. You can't build a meaningful life while constantly filtering your truth. People respect honesty more than perfection. They might not always agree with you, but they'll remember that you were real. And being real creates a trust that fake kindness never can. When you reclaim your voice, You start to live in alignment with your values. You stop saying yes when you mean no. You stop laughing at things that don't amuse you. You stop apologizing for feelings that are valid. You begin to speak with intention, not hesitation. You give your thoughts weight, and that changes how people respond to you. It takes courage to be real in a world that rewards politeness. It's easier to nod, agree, and stay quiet. But ease is not growth. Growth requires discomfort. You might lose a few people when you start speaking your truth, but the ones who remain will respect you more deeply. You'll attract relationships built on honesty, not convenience. When you finally use your voice, something powerful happens. You start to hear yourself. You realize that your ideas have value. You notice how your confidence rises when you express what you truly think. You start to trust your instincts instead of waiting for someone else's validation. That's the beginning of real freedom. Politeness can make you appear agreeable, but honesty makes you feel alive. The goal is not to be loud or aggressive. It's to be clear and grounded. When you speak from that place, people listen because your words come from authenticity, not fear. You don't need to shout. You just need to stand firm in your truth. In your daily life, begin small. Speak up in a conversation where you'd usually stay quiet. Say what you truly feel, even if your voice shakes a little. Share your opinions with confidence, not arrogance. When someone crosses a line, don't swallow your discomfort. Address it calmly. Every time you do this, you reclaim a piece of your power. You'll notice that people start responding differently. Some will appreciate your honesty. Others might resist it at first. But your job isn't to manage their reactions. It's to stay true to yourself. You can't build a strong life while living small. You can't achieve your goals if your fear of offending people keeps you silent. Think of how many opportunities you've lost because you didn't speak up. A promotion you didn't ask for, a boundary you didn't set, a conversation you avoided. Each of those moments could have changed your path. You can't rewrite them, but you can decide that, from now on, you won't hold back anymore. Reclaiming your voice means giving yourself permission to be fully seen. It's choosing honesty, even when it's awkward. It's believing that your perspective deserves space in the world. No one can read your mind. If you want to be understood, you have to speak. If you want to be respected, you have to show where you stand. You'll find that using your voice doesn't push people away. It filters them. The right people will respect your clarity. The wrong ones will be uncomfortable with. But that's how you build a life that fits who you are, not who you pretend to be. When you start living from this place, everything changes. Your confidence grows. Your decisions become clearer. You stop overanalyzing how others perceive you. You stop replaying conversations, wondering if you said too much. You become grounded, steady, calm, because you know that you spoke from honesty, not fear. Every great change in your life will start with a moment when you choose to speak your truth instead of hiding behind politeness. That single choice can shift your entire future. It can open doors you didn't know existed. It can earn you respect, opportunity, and peace of mind. Remember, people can only meet you at the level of honesty you offer. If you hide behind politeness, they'll never truly know you. If you share your truth with courage, they'll see your real strength. Reclaim your voice, because it's your greatest tool for growth. Stop whispering your opinions and start expressing them with conviction. You don't owe anyone endless agreeableness. You owe yourself authenticity. The world has enough polite silence. What it needs is your honest voice, spoken with confidence, purpose, and heart. When you find that voice again, you'll stop asking for permission to exist. You'll stop shrinking to fit. You'll speak with clarity, and you'll walk through life knowing you didn't hide from yourself. That's how you start winning. Not by being polite, but by being real. Number 3, train your mind to handle people's disappointment calmly. One of the hardest lessons in life is learning to stay calm when people are disappointed in you. Most people are never taught how to handle that feeling. From a young age, we're taught to seek approval, to make people proud, to make them happy, to avoid letting anyone down. It becomes so deeply rooted in us that when someone frowns, criticizes, or shows disappointment, we immediately feel guilt, fear, or shame. But if you want to grow, you must train your mind to handle people's disappointment without losing your peace. Because the truth is, no matter what you do, someone will always wish you'd done it differently. You have to stop believing that someone's disappointment automatically means you did something wrong. Disappointment is simply a reaction. It's their emotion, not your identity. It's based on their expectations, their needs, their perspective, and you are not responsible for managing everyone's emotions. Your job is to live in alignment with your values, not to keep everyone satisfied. The more you try to keep everyone happy, the more you lose your direction. When someone expresses disappointment in you, your mind often jumps into panic mode. You start analyzing what you said, how you said it, and what you could have done differently. You replay the situation, trying to find a version that would have pleased them. But this mental loop doesn't change anything. It only drains you. The problem isn't their reaction, it's your attachment to their approval. To handle disappointment calmly, you must first understand that people's reactions often have little to do with you. Sometimes their disappointment is a reflection of their own unmet needs. Sometimes it's their ego, their expectations, or their control issues. Sometimes they're projecting their own fears onto you. When you start seeing that, you stop taking every reaction personally. You begin to detach emotionally while staying grounded in truth. The key is to build inner stability. You can't control external emotions, but you can control your internal response. When someone is disappointed, breathe before reacting. Remind yourself that you have a right to make choices that others may not agree with. You're allowed to prioritize your peace over their approval. You're allowed to say no even when it disappoints someone you care about. Calmness doesn't mean indifference. It means maturity. It means choosing understanding over emotional chaos. You also have to train your mind to stop seeking validation from every direction. If your self-worth depends on people's reactions, you'll live on an emotional roller coaster. One compliment will lift you. One criticism will break you. True emotional strength comes from knowing who you are, even when others don't understand you. You must become your own source of validation. Tell yourself that it's okay to be misunderstood. Tell yourself that disagreement doesn't equal failure. Tell yourself that your life is too valuable to be shaped by other people's moods. Think about the times you've avoided taking action because you feared someone's disappointment. Maybe you didn't speak up, didn't take a risk, or didn't make a change you knew you needed. That hesitation doesn't come from lack of ability. It comes from fear of judgment. And that fear is what keeps so many people stuck in lives that don't fulfill them. You have to break that pattern. You have to train your mind to be at peace, even when others don't approve. When people are disappointed in you, they may act distant, irritated, or silent. That silence can feel heavy, almost like rejection. But silence doesn't mean you did something wrong. It simply means they're processing. Don't rush to fix. Don't chase after approval with apologies you don't mean. Give space for emotions to settle, and stand firm in your truth. Calmness gives you control. Reacting out of guilt gives your power away. Learning to handle disappointment calmly also means accepting that not everyone will understand your boundaries. When you start setting limits, some people will see it as selfish. When you start saying no, some will call it rude. That's not your problem to fix. People who benefit from your overgiving will always be disappointed when you stop. But their discomfort doesn't mean you're wrong. It means you're growing. You must also train your thoughts not to spiral into guilt. Guilt is often a false alarm. It tells you that you've hurt someone when, in reality, you've simply chosen yourself. Notice the difference between real guilt and conditioned guilt. Real guilt happens when you've done something unethical or harmful. Conditioned guilt happens when you've done something healthy that someone else doesn't like. Learn to tell them apart. Real guilt asks for correction. Conditioned guilt asks for courage. As you strengthen your mind, you'll find that calmness is not weakness. its power under control. When someone expresses disappointment, your calm response will often disarm them. Instead of defending yourself, you can listen. Instead of explaining endlessly, you can express your reasons clearly and respectfully. Instead of getting angry, you can choose to understand without agreeing. That's real mastery. You're not avoiding emotions. You're managing them intelligently. You can also train your mind by reminding yourself of your intentions. If your intention was honest, kind, and true, then the outcome doesn't define your worth. You can't force someone to see your heart. People will interpret your actions through their own lens, and that's okay. You can't win every perception battle. What matters is that you stay consistent with your values and your peace. Handling disappointment calmly also means not trying to explain your choices to everyone. You don't owe everyone a detailed defense of your actions. Some explanations only invite unnecessary arguments. When you know your reasons, that's enough. People who truly care about you will try to understand. Others will just want to win the argument. Choose peace over endless justification. Remember that calmness doesn't mean silence. It means composure. You can calmly express your point without raising your voice. You can say, "I understand how you feel," without surrendering your principles. You can listen with empathy, but still stand by your decision. Calmness allows you to respond instead of react. That's what separates maturity from insecurity. Training your mind is like building a muscle. It takes practice. Start with small moments. When someone gets irritated, instead of reacting instantly, pause, breathe, notice your heartbeat, notice your thoughts racing. Then remind yourself, their feelings are theirs. My peace is mine. Repeat that until it becomes your default reaction. Over time, you'll find that you can handle difficult conversations without fear or guilt. Eventually, you'll reach a point where someone's disappointment no longer shakes you. You'll understand that life is not about being liked. It's about being real. The people who truly respect you won't expect blind agreement. They'll value your honesty, even when it challenges them. And those who can't handle your boundaries were never meant to have control over your emotions anyway. You will also learn to forgive yourself when you disappoint others unintentionally. You're human. You'll make decisions that others don't understand. You'll take paths that not everyone support. That's part of growth. Don't let their reactions define your self-image. You can care about people and still disappoint them. Sometimes, those two truths can exist together. As you practice this, you'll notice your inner world becoming more peaceful. You'll stop overanalyzing every interaction. You'll stop carrying other people's emotions like they're your responsibility. You'll walk through life lighter, freer, and more grounded. And when people express disappointment, you'll respond with calm understanding instead of anxiety. Training your mind to handle disappointment calmly is one of the most powerful skills you can develop. It gives you emotional independence. It teaches you to trust yourself. It protects your energy from being controlled by external reaction. And it allows you to focus on what truly matters. Living a life that's aligned with your truth, not everyone else's expectations. Because at the end of the day, peace is not found in avoiding disappointment. It's found in facing it with strength. When you can look someone in the eye, knowing they're disappointed, and still feel grounded, that's when you've grown. That's when you've taken control of your emotions instead of letting them control you. That's when you've trained your mind to lead your life instead of letting fear lead it for you. Number 4, detach your worth from how much you give others. Many people grow up believing their worth depends on how much they do for others. They think love must be earned through effort. Approval must be maintained through sacrifice. And value must be proven through constant giving. This mindset becomes a quiet burden carried through adulthood. You give until you're empty, help until you're drained, and please until you forget yourself. You start to measure your importance by how much you contribute, how many people need you, and how many problems you solve. But that's not self-worth. That's dependency dressed up as generosity. Your worth does not increase when you give more, and it doesn't decrease when you stop giving. It exists whether you're doing everything for everyone or sitting in silence doing nothing. That's what many people forget. They mistake usefulness for worth, productivity for value, and attention for love. And because of that, they stay trapped in cycles of exhaustion, resentment, and quiet disappointment. You have to start unlearning the belief that your value is tied to how much you provide. The world has conditioned you to believe that selflessness equals goodness. But there's a difference between being kind and being consumed. When you constantly give beyond your limits, it's not kindness, it's avoidance. You're avoiding the discomfort of saying no. You're avoiding the possibility that someone might be upset with you. You're avoiding the fear of being seen as selfish. The truth is, you can still care deeply without giving endlessly. You can love people and still protect your peace. Detachment doesn't mean apathy. It means balance. It means knowing where you end and where others begin. It means realizing that people's happiness is not your responsibility. You can support others, but you can't save them. You can encourage others, but you can't carry them. When you tie your worth to what you give, you start to believe that being needed is the same as being loved. That's why so many people struggle when they're not fixing, helping, or sacrificing. They feel invisible when they're not giving. They fear that if they stop doing for others, they'll stop being appreciated. But real love doesn't disappear when you stop overextending yourself. Real love exists even when you rest. You have to teach your mind that rest doesn't make you lazy. Saying no doesn't make you cold. And putting yourself first doesn't make you unkind. Those who love you for what you do will always want more. Those who love you for who you are will respect your boundary. That's how you find peace, by separating genuine connection from conditional appreciation. Think about how often you've ignored your needs just to make someone else comfortable. Maybe you agreed to help when you were already exhausted. Maybe you lent money you couldn't afford to lose. Maybe you listened to someone's problems when your own heart was breaking. Those actions might make you feel valuable in the moment, but they drain you over time. And the more drained you become, the harder it is to give anything meaningful. When you detach your worth from how much you give, you start showing up with intention instead of obligation. You no longer give to prove your goodness. You give because it feels right. You help because it aligns with your heart, not because you're afraid of being unloved. You start to make decisions from peace, not pressure. This shift begins with awareness. Notice the moments when you feel anxious about saying no. Ask yourself what you're really afraid of. Are you scared of losing someone's approval? Are you worried they'll think less of you? Or have you just gotten used to being the strong one, the reliable one, the one who never complains? Once you identify those patterns, you can begin to release them. Your relationships will change as you grow. Some people will not like the new version of you, the one who doesn't rush to fix everything, who takes time to rest, who sets boundaries without guilt. That's normal. People who relied on your overgiving will feel uncomfortable when you start protecting your energy. But don't mistake their discomfort for wrongdoing. Growth always shifts the balance of relationships. Those meant to stay will adapt. Those who are using your kindness will fade. You'll notice something powerful as you detach your worth from giving. Your confidence grow. You begin to feel whole without needing to be someone's savior. You start enjoying quiet moments without guilt. You begin to choose yourself without second-guessing it. That's when you realize you were never meant to earn love. You were meant to share it freely, starting with yourself. It's not selfish to care about your well-being. You can't pour from an empty cup, and you can't sustain healthy connections when you're running on resentment. Giving from guilt leads to frustration. Giving from fullness leads to joy. The difference is intention. Healthy giving flows from strength. Unhealthy giving flows from fear. You must learn to give without losing yourself. That means knowing your limits, protecting your energy, and recognizing that it's okay to prioritize your needs. You are not responsible for healing everyone around you. You are not the solution to every problem. You are a person deserving of the same care you offer others. It's also important to stop measuring your self-worth by external appreciation. Sometimes you'll give your best, and people won't notice. They won't say thank you. They might even take it for granted. That's part of life. But if your motivation is pure, their recognition isn't necessary. When you no longer depend on praise, your giving becomes cleaner, free from expectation and resentment. You are not valuable because of what you give. You are valuable because of who you are. Even if you stopped helping today, your worth would remain untouched. You are worthy of love even when you're quiet, when you rest,
when you do nothing at all. The real challenge is to believe that deeply. Detach yourself from the idea that being selfless is the only path to being loved. True love doesn't require you to abandon yourself. It respects your boundaries, supports your growth, and values your presence, not your sacrifices. You can still be kind, generous, and compassionate while protecting your emotional space. You can care for people without losing sleep over their opinions. You can be available without being responsible for everyone's happiness. That balance takes time to build. But it starts with one powerful decision to stop proving your worth through giving. Every time you choose rest over obligation, you're rewriting your self-worth. Every time you say no without guilt, you're reclaiming your peace. Every time you let someone handle their own consequences, you're honoring your boundary. These small acts add up. They rebuild your relationship with yourself. You deserve to feel free from the constant pressure to give. You deserve to experience peace without needing to earn it. You deserve to be valued for your being, not just your doing. That's what emotional independence looks like. It's not about giving less. It's about giving smarter. When you live this way, your giving becomes more genuine. You'll no longer give out of fear or guilt. You'll give out of love and choice. You'll realize that when you respect yourself, your relationships grow stronger because they're built on truth, not dependency. Your worth is not a currency to be exchanged for love or validation. It's the foundation of your existence. You are enough, even when you're not fixing, saving, or giving. The moment you believe that, everything changes. You stop overextending, you stop apologizing, and you finally start living with balance and peace.
Number 5, break the habit of fixing problems that aren't yours. Most people don't realize how much energy they lose trying to fix problems that don't belong to them. They carry other people's stress like it's their own. They get involved in situations that were never theirs to handle. They try to solve everyone's issues, family conflicts, friends' mistakes, coworkers' messes, thinking it's a sign of love, loyalty, or responsibility. But it's not love when it drains you. It's not loyalty when it costs your peace. It's not responsibility when it's not your problem. The habit of fixing others begins with good intentions. You care, you empathize, you want to help. You see someone struggling, and your instinct says, I can make this better. You rush in trying to soothe, explain, organize, rescue, or repair. It gives you a sense of control and purpose. For a moment, it feels noble, until it becomes exhausting. Because every time you fix something that isn't yours, you carry a burden that was never meant for you. And the truth is, while you're busy solving their problems, your own life starts slipping out of focus. You have to understand that caring for someone doesn't mean managing their life. You can love people deeply and still let them face their consequences. You can be kind without becoming their constant rescuer. The moment you make a habit of fixing, you teach others not to take responsibility. They learn that you'll step in every time things get difficult. And before long, you're the one cleaning up after everyone, while no one cleans up after you. That's not balance, that's burnout. Breaking this habit starts with recognizing your own pattern. Ask yourself why you feel the need to fix everything. Do you fear what will happen if you don't? Are you afraid of seeing people struggle? Do you believe that your value comes from being useful? These questions matter because the habit of fixing often hides a deeper fear, the fear of losing control or being unneeded. You think if you stop helping, people will drift away. But the truth is, healthy relationships don't depend on constant rescue. They depend on mutual respect and accountability. You are not responsible for saving everyone. Each person has their own journey, their own lessons, and their own time. When you interfere too much, you rob them of the chance to learn, grow, and change. Sometimes people need to feel discomfort to evolve. Sometimes they need to make mistakes to understand what matters. By trying to shield them from pain, you're not protecting them, you're preventing their growth. It's important to remember that empathy doesn't mean involvement. You can understand someone's pain without carrying it. You can listen without fixing. You can care without controlling. This is emotional maturity. The ability to be compassionate without losing yourself. You don't have to be cold or distant. You just have to know where your responsibility ends and theirs begins. Every time you take on a problem that isn't yours,
You reinforce a pattern that drains your energy. You end up tired, resentful, and quietly angry. You might even start feeling unappreciated, because the people you help don't always acknowledge your effort. But they don't see it as sacrifice. They see it as normal, because you've trained them to. You've made your constant helping part of the routine, and until you stop, nothing changes. You have to be willing to let people face their own challenges. When you stop fixing, they'll probably get upset. They might call you selfish or cold. That's only because they're used to your overgiving. Stay calm. Stay firm. Explain that you trust them to handle their life. You're not abandoning them. You're empowering them. The more you do that, the more you'll realize that your peace doesn't depend on anyone else's chaos. Breaking this habit also means learning to sit with discomfort. It's not easy to watch someone make choices you disagree with. It's not easy to see them suffer when you know how to help. But that's where your growth lies, in the ability to care without controlling. Life teaches each person through experience, not through someone else's interference. Your job is to manage your own emotions, not everyone else's reaction. You will notice that when you stop fixing, you gain time, energy, and mental clarity. You start focusing on your own goals. You begin solving the problems that truly belong to you, and you discover that your relationships become healthy. The ones who genuinely value you will adjust. They'll learn to handle their responsibilities. The ones who only valued you for what you could do for them will fade away. That's how you filter real connections from one-sided attachment. Many people think saying no is harsh, but sometimes no is the most respectful answer you can give. It tells the other person, I believe you're capable. It gives them back their power, and it reminds you that your job in life is not to carry everyone. It's to carry yourself well. If you spend your whole life cleaning up after others, you'll never have time to build your own future. It's also crucial to understand that fixing others doesn't guarantee peace. In fact, it often leads to more problems. When you constantly intervene, you create dependence. People stop solving their own issues because they know you'll step in. They don't learn from their mistakes. They repeat them, and you become frustrated because you keep cleaning the same mess again and again. The only way to break this cycle is to step back and allow consequences to teach the lessons you can't. You are not selfish for choosing peace. You are not unkind for protecting your boundaries. You are not irresponsible for saying, that's not my problem. You are simply acknowledging that your energy is limited and must be spent wisely. There's a difference between helping someone out of love and carrying their entire life out of fear. The first builds connection. The second builds exhaustion. Start small. The next time someone comes to you with a problem, resist the urge to fix it immediately. Listen, offer empathy. Ask questions like, what do you think would help? Or how do you plan to handle this? Shift the responsibility back to them. You can guide without taking over. You can care without rescuing. That's what true support looks like. It strengthens the other person instead of weakening you. When you stop fixing everyone, you also stop expecting everyone to fix you. You begin to understand that every person must manage their own growth. You become more emotionally independent. You stop blaming others for your unhappiness, because you start seeing that peace is an inside job, and that awareness brings freedom. Freedom from guilt, from control, from exhaustion. The world doesn't need more rescuers. It needs more self-aware people who know how to manage their own emotions. You make the world better not by solving everyone's problems, but by being an example of balance, clarity, and self-respect. When others see you maintaining peace without overextending, they learn to do the same. You'll also notice that people start approaching you differently. They'll think before unloading their problems on you because they know you won't immediately take over. You'll be respected, and that respect will give your kindness more power. It won't come from guilt or fear. It will come from genuine choice. Breaking the habit of fixing others isn't easy, but it's necessary. It requires awareness, courage, and patience. You'll have moments when you feel guilty or uncomfortable, but remind yourself that this discomfort is temporary. What's permanent is the peace that comes after. You'll begin to feel lighter, clearer, and more focused. You'll stop living reactively and start living intentionally. At some point, you have to accept that not every problem deserves your involvement. Some people don't want solutions. They want attention. Some don't want growth. They want someone else to take the blame. The best thing you can do is recognize that and choose not to engage. Your time and peace are too valuable to be spent fixing what others refuse to face. When you finally stop trying to fix problems that aren't yours, You reclaim your strength. You stop feeling responsible for things you can't control. You stop walking into chaos just because someone else created it. You start living with emotional boundaries that protect your energy. And that's where real freedom begins. The kind that comes when you no longer carry what isn't yours to bear.
Number 6, build inner strength by allowing others to face consequences. Inner strength isn't built by controlling everything around you. It's built by allowing life to unfold, even when it's uncomfortable. One of the hardest things you will ever do is watch people you care about make mistakes, fall short, or face consequences for their actions, and resist the urge to step in and rescue them. It takes emotional maturity to stand back when every part of you wants to fix, explain, or soften their pain. But strength grows when you choose patience over panic, trust over interference, and faith over control. People learn best through experience, not through lectures or interventions. You can guide them, you can warn them, but you can't protect them from every outcome. When you interfere with their natural consequences, you take away the very lessons that life is trying to teach them. Sometimes those lessons are painful, but pain has a purpose. It shapes character, it builds awareness, it creates accountability. You can't develop wisdom without discomfort, and neither can anyone else. Many people mistake control for care. They believe that saving someone from pain means they're being loving. But love is not always about protection. It's about allowing growth. When you constantly rescue someone, you're not helping them. You're teaching them that they don't have to take responsibility. You're teaching them that someone else will always clean up the mess, fix the damage, or carry the weight. And in doing that, you make them weaker, not stronger. You must remind yourself that consequences are not punishments, they're teachers. Every choice has a result, and every result carries a lesson. When you allow people to face those results, you're not being cruel. You're respecting their freedom to learn. You're saying, I believe you're capable of handling this. That belief is powerful because it gives people back their dignity. It shows trust. It builds confidence. It gives them ownership of their lives. Inner strength is about self-control. It's about resisting the impulse to fix things that aren't yours to fix. When someone faces the result of their own decisions, it's natural to feel empathy. You might feel an urge to shield them from the consequence, but that urge often comes from your own discomfort. You don't like seeing them struggle because it triggers your emotions. You feel guilt, worry, or fear. But remember, those feelings are yours to manage, not theirs to avoid. When you allow others to face the outcomes of their actions, you free both of you from dependency. They learn responsibility, and you learn peace. You stop living on edge, always trying to control how others live, think, and choose. You realize that your energy is better spent managing your own growth, not micromanaging someone else's journey. This shift doesn't make you cold. It makes you wise. It teaches you compassion without codependency. The truth is, real love includes accountability. When you let people experience the effects of their choices, you're giving them the chance to grow up. You're not abandoning them. You're honoring their ability to learn. When they fail, they discover their own resilience. When they fall, they find their own strength to stand. If you constantly prevent that process, they never learn independence. They remain emotionally dependent, expecting others to carry what they refuse to face. Think of how many times you've stepped in to prevent someone's mistake from catching up to them. Maybe you covered for someone who didn't show up. Maybe you paid for a mistake that wasn't yours. Maybe you smoothed over tension that someone else caused. Each time you did that, you absorbed the discomfort that wasn't meant for you. You shielded them from growth and overloaded yourself with unnecessary responsibility. That's not strength. That's self-neglect, disguised as kindness. It takes courage to let people deal with what they've created. It requires patience to stay calm when they're angry or upset. They might accuse you of being unhelpful, distant, or cold, but you have to stay grounded and remember why you're stepping back. You're not rejecting them. You're refusing to enable them. You're teaching through boundaries. You're allowing reality to do its work. You'll find that when you stop rescuing others, you also start rescuing yourself. You free your time, your mind,
and your emotions. You stop carrying guilt that doesn't belong to you. You begin to see that strength isn't about fixing. It's about allowing life to move naturally, even when it's uncomfortable. You become emotionally stable because you no longer feel responsible for everyone else's growth. Inner strength comes from understanding that pain is not the enemy. Pain is a signal. It tells us where to look, what to change, and what to learn. When you shield people from it, they remain unaware of their patterns. They repeat the same mistakes because they've never had to face the outcome. Allowing consequences is the most honest way to support someone's development. You can still be there for people emotionally. You can listen, encourage, and care, but you don't have to fix. You don't have to rewrite their story. You don't have to carry their emotions as your own. Your role is to love, not to control. The best support you can offer is presence without interference. When you start practicing this mindset, you'll notice that not everyone appreciates it. Some people only value you when you solve their problem. When you stop doing that, they might distance themselves. Don't take it personally. That's the nature of growth. It filters your circle. Those who truly respect you will adjust to the new boundaries. Those who don't were attached to the benefits, not the bond. Allowing others to face consequences doesn't mean you lack empathy. It means you respect reality. You understand that struggle builds strength. When someone hits a wall, it's not always your job to remove it. Sometimes that wall teaches them what no advice ever could. And by stepping back, you're giving them the gift of self-awareness. This approach also changes how you handle your own mistakes. When you stop rescuing others, you begin to take more ownership of your actions too. You start facing your own consequences with calm and clarity. You no longer run from discomfort. You use it to grow. That's what makes you stronger. You stop fearing mistakes and start seeing them as part of your evolution. Inner strength is built through restraint. It's easy to jump in, easy to fix, easy to take charge. It's harder to pause, observe, and trust that others can handle their own lives. That's where real discipline lies, in choosing not to interfere when you could. Each time you resist that impulse, you strengthen your mind. Each time you allow someone to experience the full weight of their decision, you reinforce your boundaries. As you practice this, you'll find peace in stillness. You'll stop being emotionally pulled into every storm around you. You'll stop confusing control with care. You'll realize that people grow through their struggles just as you did. And that realization will give you a new kind of freedom. The freedom to let go without guilt. Eventually, you'll see that your inner peace isn't fragile, it's powerful. You can care deeply and still stay centered. You can love fully and still let go. You can support others without losing yourself. That's strength. It's not loud or dramatic. It's quiet, calm, and firm. It's the kind of strength that comes from wisdom, from experience, from trust in life itself. You don't have to save everyone to be a good person. You just have to stay grounded in truth. The world doesn't need more fixers. It needs more people who understand that accountability is love, that growth comes from challenge, and that peace comes from letting others walk their own path. When you learn to allow people to face their consequences, you stop fearing what you can't control. You begin to trust that everything unfolds as it should. And that trust, that quiet, steady trust, is the deepest form of strength you'll ever build.
Number 7, replace emotional overgiving with self-respect and balance. Emotional overgiving is one of the most exhausting ways to live. It's when you give your time, energy, and care to others without noticing how much of yourself you're losing in the process. You're always there for everyone, listening, helping, comforting, and fixing. But deep down, you feel invisible. You tell yourself it's love, compassion, or duty, but what it really becomes is a quiet form of self-abandonment. You start ignoring your own needs while trying to meet everyone else's. You start apologizing for wanting rest. You start feeling guilty for saying no. And slowly, your kindness stops feeling like a gift. It starts feeling like a burden. To replace emotional overgiving with self-respect, you have to begin with awareness. You must notice the moments when you give, not because you want to, but because you feel obligated. That's the difference between genuine kindness and emotional overgiving. Genuine kindness flows naturally. It feels light, honest, and free.
Overgiving feels heavy, anxious, and pressured. You know you're overgiving when you leave every interaction feeling drained, not fulfilled. Many people who overgive learned it from a young age. Maybe you were taught that your worth depended on being helpful, or that love had to be earned through sacrifice. Maybe you learned that peace in your home depended on keeping everyone happy. That pattern follows you into adulthood, and you keep doing it without realizing it's slowly eroding your self-respect. You say yes when you're exhausted. You stay quiet to avoid conflict. You care more about how others feel than how you feel, and you wonder why you're always tired, anxious, or resentful. The truth is, love without boundaries isn't love. It's self-neglect. You can't build healthy connections by constantly pouring from an empty cup. You can't maintain emotional stability if you're always trying to manage everyone else's emotions. Replacing overgiving with self-respect doesn't mean becoming distant or uncaring. It means finding balance. It means knowing when to give, how much to give, and when to stop. It means treating your energy like something valuable, not disposable. Start by asking yourself one simple question. Am I giving out of love or fear? If your giving is driven by love, it feels good. It feels natural. But if it's driven by fear, fear of rejection, fear of being seen as selfish, fear of losing approval, then it's emotional overgiving. And fear-based giving always leads to resentment. You begin to expect something in return: recognition, gratitude, understanding. And when you don't get it, it hurts twice as much. Self-respect begins when you decide that your emotions matter just as much as everyone else's. You stop trying to be the emotional caretaker of the world. You realize that it's not your job to regulate how people feel about you. You can be kind and still say no. You can love someone deeply and still protect your boundaries. You can show empathy without absorbing their pain as your own. That's emotional maturity, caring with clarity, not with sacrifice. Balance means understanding that giving and receiving must coexist. Overgivers often struggle to receive. They downplay compliments, reject help, and brush off appreciation. They're so used to being the giver that receiving feels uncomfortable, even wrong. But allowing yourself to receive is not weakness. It's part of human connection. Every healthy relationship is built on exchange, not one-sided effort. You have to retrain your mind to believe that saying no doesn't make you unkind. When you respect your limits, you're not withholding love. You're preserving your capacity to love well. Constant giving without boundaries leads to emotional burnout, and burnout makes you bitter. Then, your giving stops being genuine. It becomes a survival mechanism. You give to feel needed. You help to avoid rejection. That's not peace. It's pressure disguised as kindness. Self-respect looks like checking in with yourself before saying yes. It looks like pausing and asking, do I really want to do this? Or am I afraid not to? It looks like choosing rest when your mind and body are tired. It looks like walking away from conversations that drain your energy. It looks like accepting that not every situation deserves your emotional investment. You start realizing that not everyone values your effort, and that's okay. You're not giving to be valued. You're giving because it aligns with your integrity. The shift from overgiving to balance won't happen overnight. You'll feel guilty at first. You'll feel selfish. You'll worry that people will think you've changed. But that's the discomfort of growth. The people who truly care about you will respect your boundaries. The ones who are benefiting from your overgiving will resist it. Let them. Their reaction reveals the truth about the relationship. Love that depends on your exhaustion isn't real. Love its dependency. You have to practice the courage to disappoint others without disappointing yourself. Not everyone will understand your boundaries, and that's fine. You're not living to please them. You're living to create peace within yourself. And that peace only comes when your actions are guided by self-respect, not guilt. Every time you honor your boundaries, you rebuild your confidence. You remind yourself that your needs matter. You teach yourself that you are worthy of care, not just as a giver, but as a person. Balance also means learning to give intentionally. You don't have to be available all the time. You don't have to respond instantly to every message or fix every emotional situation. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do for others and for yourself is to step back. When you step back, You give people space to handle their own emotions. You give them room to grow. You also give yourself the rest you need to show up fully when it truly matters. When you stop overgiving, you start connecting differently. Your relationships become healthier because they're built on respect, not obligation. You no longer attract people who take advantage of your empathy. Instead, you attract people who value your presence and understand your limits. You feel lighter, freer, more grounded. You don't walk around feeling used or unappreciated because your giving comes from choice, not compulsion. Replacing emotional overgiving with self-respect doesn't make you harder. It makes you clearer. You know what you want. You know what you can handle. And you stop apologizing for protecting your energy. That's how you build balance. Not by giving less love, but by giving it wisely. Your time, attention, and care are precious resources. You can't give them to everyone and expect to stay whole. As you grow, you'll realize that peace isn't found in constant giving. It's found in balanced living. Some days you give, some days you receive, and some days you rest. You stop measuring your worth by how much you do for others and start valuing yourself for simply being. You start showing up for yourself with the same compassion you've always given away. And when you do that, your giving becomes more meaningful because it comes from strength, not exhaustion. You don't owe anyone your constant availability. You don't have to fix every situation to prove you care. You don't have to be everything to everyone. What you owe yourself is balance, time to rest, space to breathe, and permission to say no without guilt. That's what self-respect looks like in action. And once you learn that, something amazing happens. You stop chasing love through overgiving. You stop trying to earn acceptance through exhaustion. You stop apologizing for taking care of yourself. You realize that you can give love freely without losing your peace. You can be kind without being used. You can care deeply and still have boundaries. That's not selfish. It's self-respect. And that balance is what makes your life peaceful, your relationships genuine, and your spirit strong.
Number 8, master saying no as a daily act of self-care. Learning to say no is one of the most powerful skills you can ever develop. It may sound simple, but for many people, it's one of the hardest things to do. From childhood, most of us were taught to be agreeable, polite, and helpful. We learn that saying yes makes people like us, and saying no makes people disappointed. Over time, that belief becomes a habit, and that habit slowly turns into exhaustion. You say yes to things you don't have the time or energy for. You agree to plans that you don't even enjoy. You take on work that doesn't align with your goals. And each time you say yes when you mean no, you chip away at your peace a little more. Saying no is not a rejection of people. It's an act of self-respect. It's a way of protecting your time, energy, and emotional well-being. When you say no to something that drains you, you're saying yes to your peace. You're saying yes to rest, focus, clarity, and freedom. But this takes practice, especially if you've built your identity around being reliable and helpful. The first few times you say no, it might feel uncomfortable. You might feel guilt creeping in. You might even start justifying your no with long explanations. But the more you do it, the more natural it becomes. The reason most people struggle to say no isn't because they don't know how. It's because they're afraid. Afraid of conflict. Afraid of being misunderstood. Afraid of being judged. They worry that people will see them as cold or unkind. But the truth is, people who truly respect you will respect your boundaries too. And the ones who get upset when you say no are the very people who benefited from your lack of them. Every time you say yes when you really want to say no, you build resentment. You start feeling used, unappreciated, or overlooked. That's because you're betraying yourself to keep others comfortable. You end up living for other people's approval instead of your own peace. And that cycle will never end until you make a conscious choice to break it. You have to decide that your energy is not available for everything or everyone. You can care deeply and still say no. You can love people and still choose yourself. No is not a negative word. It's a filter. It separates what serves your growth from what drains your spirit.
It keeps your life organized and your mind clear. It's the word that creates room for what truly matters. Your goals, your rest, your health, your peace. Saying no doesn't make you difficult. It makes you disciplined. It means you understand that every yes has a cost, and that cost is your time and attention. Two things you can never get back. You have to start small. Practice saying no in the moments that matter least, so you can build confidence for the moments that matter most. When someone asks you to do something you don't want to do, pause before responding. You don't owe anyone an immediate answer. A simple "I can't commit to that right now" or "that doesn't work for me" is enough. You don't have to justify or over-explain. Boundaries don't need essays, they need consistency. Each time you say no, you're strengthening your ability to choose yourself. You're reminding yourself that your needs matter. You're training your mind to stop chasing approval. You're showing yourself that peace is more valuable than people-pleasing. Over time, you'll notice how much lighter you feel. You'll have more energy, more clarity, and more control over your schedule. Your no becomes a tool of self-care, a simple, powerful act that keeps your life balanced. You also have to understand that saying no will change your relationship. Some people will feel disappointed when you stop saying yes to everything. They'll test your boundaries. They might guilt trip you, question your choices, or act distant. Don't let that shake your confidence. Their discomfort doesn't mean you're wrong. It means they were benefiting from your lack of limits. Stay calm, stay kind, and stay firm. Boundaries don't require arguments. They require consistency. Once people see that your no means no, they'll stop testing it. When you make no a regular part of your vocabulary, you start reclaiming your time. You stop rushing from one obligation to the next. You stop filling your calendar with things that don't fulfill you. You create space for silence, creativity, and genuine connection. You start living with intention instead of reaction. That's the power of boundaries. They turn chaos into clarity. You might think that saying no will make people like you less, but the opposite is true. People respect those who respect themselves. When you say no with honesty and calmness, you communicate strength and self-awareness. You show others that your time is valuable. You teach them how to treat you. And the relationships that remain will be the ones built on respect, not convenience. Saying no is not selfish. It's responsive. You can't give your best to anything if you're stretched too thin. You can't show up with energy and enthusiasm if you're running on empty. You can't maintain meaningful relationships if you're constantly overwhelmed. No keeps you healthy. It protects you from resentment. It allows you to give authentically when you actually want to, not out of guilt or pressure. Think about the moments in your life when you said yes and immediately regretted it. You felt that instant knot in your stomach. You wished you had trusted your instinct. That's your body's way of saying, "This isn't right for you." Learning to listen to that feeling is part of mastering self-care. No is not always about others. It's about honoring yourself. Start viewing no as an act of strength. Every time you say no to something that doesn't serve you, you're saying yes to something better. You're saying yes to rest, yes to focus, yes to peace, yes to growth. You're choosing quality over quantity in every part of your life. Your time, your energy, and your relationship. The more you practice, the easier it becomes. You'll stop feeling guilty for prioritizing yourself. You'll stop explaining your boundaries to people who have already shown they don't respect them. You'll stop apologizing for living at your own pace. You'll realize that the world doesn't fall apart when you say no. It actually gets clearer. The goal is not to stop helping others. It's to help without harming yourself. When your no becomes natural, your yes becomes more meaningful. You'll give from a place of peace instead of pressure. You'll show up fully for the things that truly matter, because you're no longer drained by the things that don't. Saying no daily doesn't make you distant. It makes you grounded. It reminds you that balance is built, not found. It reminds you that peace is a choice you have to make every day. It teaches you that love and limits can coexist. It helps you live with intention, not obligation. Eventually, you'll reach a place where you don't fear saying no. You respect it. It becomes part of how you live, not something you struggle with. You'll notice how your days start feeling lighter, and your relationships feel healthier. You'll stop overcommitting and start living at a pace that nourishes you. This is what self-care really looks like. Not just candles or quiet nights, but decisions that protect your energy. The courage to say no is the foundation of emotional health. It's the way you tell yourself I matter too, because you do. Your time, your energy, and your peace matter. And saying no firmly and calmly is how you keep them safe.
Number 9, shift your focus from being liked to being respected. Wanting everyone to like you is one of the most exhausting goals a person can chase. It keeps you trapped in constant worry about how others see you, what they think of you, and whether you're doing enough to be accepted. You start shaping your behavior around other people's comfort instead of your own truth. You say what sounds right instead of what feels right. You hide parts of yourself to avoid criticism. And while you might gain approval, you slowly lose authenticity. But life changes the moment you decide that being respected is more important than being liked. When you aim to be liked, you compromise. You adjust your opinions, you tolerate disrespect, you give more than you should, and you silence your voice when you should speak. You start measuring your worth through reactions. How many smiles you get, how many people praise you, how often people invite you. But approval is fragile. It shifts with moods, perspectives, and circumstances. It's never stable because it depends on things outside your control. Respect, however, is solid. It's built through consistency, integrity, and honesty. It doesn't fade when people disagree with you. It remains because it's based on character, not convenience. To shift your focus, you must first understand the difference between being liked and being respected. Liked is about comfort. Respected is about truth. Liked is temporary. Respected lasts. When people like you, they enjoy what you offer them. When people respect you, they value who you are. The difference is depth. One feeds your ego. The other feeds your soul. You can't build a strong life trying to please everyone, because pleasing people means living in fragments. You end up being a version of yourself that's easy for others but hard for you. Respect begins when you start living by your own values instead of bending to others. It starts when you stop chasing agreement and start standing for something. That doesn't mean being arrogant or dismissive. It means being honest and consistent. People might not always like your truth, but they will remember your honesty. They'll know that your words mean something. They'll trust that you don't pretend for approval. That's how respect is built, through actions that align with your principles, even when it's inconvenient. You'll notice that the people who crave to be liked often struggle with boundaries. They avoid saying no because they fear rejection. They agree to things that make them uncomfortable, just to maintain harmony. They confuse politeness with weakness and end up feeling unappreciated. But people who value respect don't operate that way. They know that boundaries are not barriers, they're standards. They understand that it's not rude to protect their energy. They can handle someone's disappointment because they know that short-term discomfort is better than long-term resentment. Being respected doesn't come from trying to impress others. It comes from showing self-control, humility, and consistency. You earn it by keeping your promises, by showing up when it matters, and by refusing to compromise your value. You don't need to be perfect to be respected. You just need to be real. People respect those who have the courage to admit mistakes and keep growing. They respect those who take responsibility for their lives instead of blaming others. They respect those who act from integrity, not insecurity. When you focus on being liked, your emotions rise and fall based on how others react to you. A compliment makes your day. A criticism ruins your mood. You lose control over your peace because it depends on external validation. But when your focus shifts to respect, you regain that control. You start caring more about alignment than applause. You stop seeking temporary approval and start building long-term credibility. Respect gives you emotional stability. It's not about how people feel about you today, but about how they trust you over time. This shift also changes the way you make decisions. When you live to be liked, your decisions are reactive. You say yes because it's easier. You agree because you fear conflict. But when you live to be respected, your decisions are intentional. You ask yourself, is this right for me? Does this align with my values? You stop living in fear of disapproval and start making choices that build character. You realize that not everyone will understand your boundaries or choices, and that's okay.
Respect often requires saying no to things that popularity says yes to. It's also important to accept that being respected sometimes means being misunderstood. There will be people who label your confidence as arrogance or your boundaries as selfishness. That's the cost of authenticity. You can't explain yourself to everyone, and you shouldn't have to. Those who are meant to understand will see your intentions through your actions. Over time, your consistency will speak louder than your words. Respect is not demanded, it's demonstrated. If you want to be respected, you must first respect yourself. That means valuing your time, keeping your word, and holding yourself accountable. It means treating others with fairness, even when emotions run high. It means speaking honestly without trying to manipulate or impress. When you live with self-respect, you naturally attract it from others. People treat you according to what you tolerate. And when you stop tolerating disrespect, the dynamic changes. You stop attracting those who take advantage of your kindness and start attracting those who appreciate your strength. You'll also find that respect builds stronger relationships. When you stop trying to be liked, your interactions become clearer and more genuine. You don't pretend to agree to avoid tension. You don't hide your needs to maintain peace. You express yourself with calm confidence. And that honesty creates deeper trust. Real relationships aren't built on constant agreement. They're built on mutual respect. Another important part of this shift is detaching from social approval. In today's world, people often equate likes, followers, or compliments with value. But external validation is an endless chase. It never fills you. You can do everything right, and still someone will criticize you. You can give your best effort, and still someone will find fault. Once you realize this, you stop bending yourself into shapes to please others. You start living in alignment with your truth, instead of chasing applause. Respect isn't loud. It doesn't need to announce itself. It shows up quietly in the way you carry yourself. It's in your tone, your choices, your consistency. It's in how you handle pressure, how you respond to unfairness, and how you treat people who can't give you anything in return. Respect is built when your character stays the same, whether someone is watching or not. To make this shift daily, remind yourself that you are not here to entertain everyone's expectations. You are here to live with purpose. Some people will like you for your kindness. Others will dislike you for your boundaries. Some will praise your confidence. Others will criticize it. None of that defines your worth. The only thing that truly matters is that you respect yourself enough to stay true, even when it's uncomfortable. When you choose respect over likability, you stop chasing approval and start earning trust. You become steady, focused, and confident. You stop apologizing for having standards. You stop explaining your boundaries. You stop shrinking to make others comfortable. You realize that respect doesn't come from being agreeable. It comes from being authentic. Over time, you'll see that respect brings peace. You no longer waste energy trying to win everyone over. You no longer fear disapproval. You stand firm in your values, and that steadiness gives you confidence. The people who respect you may not always agree with you, but they'll always remember your integrity, and that's worth far more than temporary approval. Being liked is pleasant. Being respected is powerful. The first gives you attention. The second gives you credibility. The first fades with trends. The second grows with time. So choose the path that lasts. Live in a way that earns respect, not because you demand it, but because you embody it. When you do that, you'll no longer worry about who likes you. You'll focus on being someone you can admire when you look in the mirror, and that's the kind of peace that never depends on anyone else's opinion. Number 10. Lead your life with clarity, not constant approval seeking. Clarity is one of the greatest forms of personal power. When you know who you are, what you stand for, and where you want to go, your life becomes peaceful and focused. But when you depend on approval from others, your direction constantly shifts. You start making decisions based on reactions instead of reason. You begin to question yourself every time someone disagrees with you. You stop trusting your instincts and start performing for acceptance. The problem with that is simple. When your path depends on how others feel about you, you'll never move with confidence. You'll live waiting for permission instead of giving yourself permission. A life led by approval seeking feels heavy. You overthink every choice, replay conversations in your head,
and second-guess your every move. You adjust your tone, your dreams, and even your personality to keep everyone happy. You stop asking what's right for me and start asking what will they think. That's how people lose themselves. Approval becomes the quiet addiction that steals authenticity. The more you chase it, the emptier you feel, because approval doesn't last. It's fragile. It changes with people's moods, opinions, and expectations. But clarity stays with you. It grounds you. It gives you stability even when everything around you is uncertain. Clarity means you no longer live through the eyes of others. It means you have taken time to understand what really matters to you, not what others expect from you. It's knowing your priorities, your values, and your purpose. When you lead with clarity, you don't need constant validation because you already know why you're doing what you're doing. You make decisions from conviction, not confusion. You act from self-awareness, not insecurity. You don't waste energy trying to be understood by everyone because you understand yourself. The reason most people seek approval is because they've learned to equate acceptance with safety. As children, approval meant belonging. When we pleased others, we were rewarded. When we disappointed them, we felt rejected. That pattern stays with us unless we unlearn it consciously. You have to remind yourself that as an adult, your worth doesn't depend on anyone's permission. You don't need others to agree with your choices for them to be valid. The only approval you truly need is your own. Approval that comes from knowing your actions align with your truth. To live with clarity, you must first quiet the noise around you. Everyone has opinions, family, friends, coworkers, even strangers. They'll tell you what's best, what's realistic, what's normal, but none of them live your life. None of them feel your emotions or carry your dreams. When you constantly adjust your path based on their opinions, you create confusion. You can't build a strong direction on unstable approval. Clarity requires solitude. It grows in quiet reflection, not in the chaos of seeking reassurance. Take time to ask yourself what kind of life you want, not what kind of life others think you should have. Ask what truly fulfills you, what makes you proud of yourself, what aligns with your values. Write it down. Define it clearly. The more specific you are about your purpose, the easier it becomes to make decisions that match. That's the foundation of clarity. It doesn't remove challenges, but it removes unnecessary confusion. When you stop chasing approval, you start leading yourself. You stop waiting for external direction and begin trusting your own voice. You stop apologizing for change. You stop explaining your choices to people who haven't lived a single day in your shoes. Approval seeking keeps you reactive. Clarity makes you proactive. Approval makes you dependent. Clarity makes you independent, and that independence gives you. You'll notice that clarity changes how you spend your time. When you're unsure of your direction, you say yes to everything because you fear missing out or disappointing someone. But when you know where you're going, you can say no with confidence. You make choices based on alignment, not anxiety. You stop wasting energy on things that don't move you forward. You no longer need to prove your worth through busyness or achievements, because your value is already clear to you. It also changes how you handle criticism. When your actions are based on approval, criticism feels like a personal attack. It shakes your confidence because you're relying on external validation. But when your actions are based on clarity, criticism becomes feedback, not failure. You can listen without losing yourself. You can adjust without abandoning your values. That's what makes strong people grounded. They're not unshakable because life is easy. They're unshakable because they know who they are. Clarity is not about being rigid. It's about being intentional. You can still grow, adapt, and learn, but your growth is guided by awareness, not fear. You stop chasing trends, opinions, or comparisons because you understand that everyone's path is different. Approval seeking makes you mimic others. Clarity helps you master yourself. To lead your life with clarity, you also need honesty, especially with yourself. You have to be willing to admit when you've been following the crowd, or when fear has been guiding your choices. You have to recognize when you're acting out of guilt instead of purpose. That level of honesty can be uncomfortable, but it's the beginning of freedom. The moment you stop lying to yourself for the sake of approval, you start living authentically.
One of the most important steps in gaining clarity is defining what success truly means to you. Too often, people chase goals they don't even want because they're trying to meet society's standards. They think success is about money, fame, or validation. But success built on approval never satisfies. Real success is personal. It's waking up knowing your actions match your values. It's feeling proud of your effort, even if no one notices. It's being at peace with yourself, not because everyone agrees with you, but because you know you're living with purpose. You'll find that when you lead with clarity, your confidence grows naturally. You stop needing to prove yourself. You stop fearing rejection. You realize that not everyone will like you, and that's okay. Approval is short-term comfort, but clarity brings long-term stability. You don't have to impress people when your life already reflects what you believe. People may not always agree with you, but they'll feel your authenticity, and authenticity always commands respect. Leading your life with clarity also helps you handle uncertainty. You'll still face challenges, but you won't be lost in them. You'll know what matters most, and that will guide your decisions. You'll stop panicking when things don't go as planned, because you'll trust that your direction is still right. That kind of calm doesn't come from approval. It comes from inner alignment. You can start this shift today by practicing small acts of clarity. Pause before making decisions. Ask yourself, is this true to who I am? Listen to your intuition before asking for advice. Remind yourself that it's okay if not everyone agrees with your choice. Approval fades, but clarity stays. It carries you through doubt, rejection, and misunderstanding. It becomes your compass when the world gets noisy. There's something powerful about walking through life, knowing what you stand for. You no longer get lost in comparison or competition. You no longer feel pressured to meet everyone's expectations. You live by your principles, not their opinions. You speak with confidence because your words come from self-awareness. You stop seeking permission to be yourself because you've already granted. When you lead your life with clarity, you become steady in a world that constantly shifts. You don't need to convince anyone of your worth. You don't need applause to feel validated. You find fulfillment in alignment, and that's where real peace lives, in the quiet certainty that you're walking your own path with purpose, even when no one else understands it. So stop waiting for others to tell you that you're doing enough, or that you're on the right track. Start trusting your own sense of direction. Build a life that makes you proud, not one that earns applause. Approval fades the moment people change their minds, but clarity grows stronger the more you live it. Once you find it, hold on to it. Let it guide your choices, your boundaries, and your goals. Because a life led with clarity doesn't need permission. It already knows the way. You've spent so much of your life proving that you're kind, patient, and understanding. But now it's time to prove that you're strong too. Kindness should never come at the cost of your peace. The world doesn't need another person who gives until they're empty. It needs people who know their worth and give from strength, not guilt. So from this moment on, start choosing yourself with the same energy you've given to everyone else. Say no when you need to. Speak your truth without fear. And stop apologizing for protecting your energy. You're not losing your kindness. You're finally learning to direct it where it belongs. If this message spoke to something deep inside you, stay with me, because this isn't the end. It's just the start of your new chapter. Subscribe, come back, and grow with me. Together we'll build the mindset that helps you stop overgiving and finally start winning.